Alright guys, today's video is going to be about a brand new game that's coming out, and that's going to be Kuroko's Basketball Street Rivals. Now this game is going to come out on the 11th of March, and as of right now I think it's only going to come out in the North America and also the Southeast Asia server. The game was already out in both Japan and also China, so that's kind of the version I'm on right now, but the global release is going to be on the 11th of March, and it'll be for North America and also Southeast Asia. Now I'm not too sure about the Europe server because right now I'm not able to find any confirmation, and I'm based in Europe and I'm not able to pre-register for this game, which is very annoying. Now obviously I can actually download the APK eventually for the North America one and also for the Southeast Asia one, but this game is very reliant on a fast ping connection. So for the European players such as myself, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait for the actual release date and have a go at, let's say, the North America server, and just to see whether or not the game will still run smoothly for me. Okay, but basically if you're actually already based in North America and Southeast Asia, you can already pre-register for this game now. So today's video is going to be a quick overview, I guess, just describing what this game is in case you guys have never played any game similar to this, and just so you know exactly what to expect, and if this is something of interest to you, then obviously try to pre-register the game to get all of those pre-registration rewards. Okay, so what is this game about? So this game is obviously based on the franchise Kuroko no Basket, and basically the idea here is that you will be getting very different characters, you'll be training them up, and then you'll be playing a 3 versus 3 basketball match with 2 other teammates. Now if you have friends, then you can team up with your friends, otherwise the game will just team you up with random people. Okay, now obviously all of the different characters are, well, not all of the characters actually, vast majority of the characters are going to be from Kuroko no Basket. However, they also do some collaboration every now and then, so you will probably recognize some faces from other anime series, and also recently they started doing an NBA collaboration as well. So for example here you actually have a Tracy McGrady here as well, and I think they're going to release a few more NBA characters in the future as well. So it's not going to be strictly just focused on Kuroko no Basket, but that is going to be probably, you know, good 90-95% of the player pool. The collab, personally from my point of view, is a positive thing because it basically means the game doesn't have to keep on remaking the same character with lots of different versions, which is kind of already happening in this game, but it's not as bad as some of the other games I've seen so far. So basically if I go to some of the characters, what you're able to see, for example, there's a normal version, there's a zone version, and then there's also a version from the last game film as well. Okay, so there are going to be repeat of the same character, but clearly the game is also now trying to expand into other character pools by doing all of those collaboration events, which is a nice thing to see. Okay, so that's basically about the character collection aspect. Now what is exactly the difference between all of those characters other than, you know, their skin? Obviously all of the characters have different positions, just like in basketball. So you have 5 different positions that they can play in, and every single character are gonna have different skill set. So you can actually see the animation for a lot of the skill sets. For example, here you are able to see a drive. This one is a steal, so it will intercept, and basically you are actually able to see a lot of different animation and skill sets, which are, I would like to say, quite reflective of how the character actually plays basketball in the anime series as well. Okay, now all of them are obviously going to make the character very, very different to each other, and you can also further upgrade your character by, first of all, leveling up the character themselves. There are also going to be very different skills trees that you are able to unlock to further unlock additional skills. So for example, the first one I'll show you just right now, this is a driving skill. However, if you actually unlock, let's say, the first node of this, you are able to drive onto the other side, so basically you're able to drive onto both sides, and then you also have, let's say, another version where he is able to basically do some street basketball here. Okay, so you are actually able to unlock additional skills with resources once you get the character. Now which character you actually want to summon for is obviously going to be very much dependent on which character you actually like, and a lot of time is also going to be meta dominated, and that's kind of one of the nice thing about this game, in the sense that every now and then different characters get buffed and also get nerfed, and as new characters get introduced, some characters are going to be strong against a new character, and therefore they're going to be classified as more meta, and some characters are going to fall out of the meta because, for example, they don't do so well with a new character. So even if you have someone with a very, very old character, they may still be playable in the future because the meta will be changing. Okay, so that's one way where this game kind of try to keep it fresh, so that no two single game are going to be the same. And obviously, depending on your teammate, who could be different, the game will be very different as well. Okay, so I just talked about the teammate aspect. So what exactly is this game? So obviously you have this character with different skills. What is going to happen is that you will be going into a match with two other person. Now you can team up with friends that you already know, or otherwise the game will just randomly match make you with two random teammates, and you'll be playing a 3 versus 3 basketball match against the opposition. Now obviously within the match itself, what you can do is, let me quickly try to show you. I won't go into an actual match with teammates because, well, I don't want to screw them over, because obviously I'm actually having very bad ping connecting to the Chinese server, which is the one I'm on right now. But basically, let me just quickly show you all of the controls I'm able to do. So once you actually enter the match, imagine there are two other teammates and obviously also 3 opponents. What you're going to do is obviously you're trying to score a basket and then try to win the match itself. Now you'll see some buttons on the right hand side and also a direction pad on the left hand side. That's basically how you are able to control the character to move around, and then you have different skills that you're also able to use at the same time as well. And the basic idea is obviously just try to win the match by scoring. A key aspect of this game is also obviously about defense. So when you're trying to score, obviously the enemy can actually block you, and let's say if your ball doesn't go in, there will be rebound and all of the floor balls, etc. as well. Okay, so that's basically the main mechanics of the this game doing the match itself. Now the game mechanic is actually very similar to 2 other games, which is Slam Dunk Mobile and also Dunk City Dynasty. If you guys have ever played those kind of 3 versus 3 basketball games in the past, this should be very, very familiar to you. The only thing is changing is obviously the characters kit, because the characters are different, and obviously their skin, because it's based on different IP. Okay, so that's basically the match aspect of this. Now let's talk about exactly what this game is all about. Is it a skill-based game, or is it more like a gacha-based game? Now, even though they are all of the characters are from Kuroko's Pocket, and you are probably trying to collect the character, etc., you might immediately be thinking this is a gacha-based game. But in reality, I don't actually think it's a gacha-based game at all. It's much more a sports skill-based game. And the reason for this is that even though you see very different characters here, it's actually very, very hard for you to gamble and basically get lucky to actually summon for a character. So let me show you the summoning system, or the gacha system in this game. So basically you have basically a standard pool, and also whenever a new character come out, you also have a separate pool for the new character. Okay, so that's basically the main breakup. Right now there's actually a few different standard pool, because there's one based on last game and one based on zone version of the characters. But this, I'm gonna assume the global version will be launched with just one standard pool, and also potentially one pool for every single new character as they release. Now, if you actually take a look at the rate of actually getting a character early, it's actually only going to be 0.02%. It looks like a crystal rather than character, and the reason for this is because basically normally the pit is 200 times. So if you summon 200 times to get this crystal, and what you can do with this crystal is that you can then use it to redeem for any character you want from the shop. Okay, and basically when character first release, after about probably 3 weeks or maybe a month after their release, they will be added to the store. So you can basically just redeem for whichever character you have with this, there's a universal crystal that you're able to get outside after 200 summons. Now, like I said, if you actually want to get this early, the rate is incredibly low. The rate for it is only going to be 0.02%. So imagine if you actually do 200 times, what's going to happen is there's only going to be roughly like a 4% chance of actually getting this character or getting this crystal early. But that's kind of why I say there isn't really much gambling aspect in this game, because the rates are so bad or so low that you normally do not try to gamble for character. And that's kind of why I don't really classify this game as a gacha game. It's much more about you spending the time, you take off the resources to just naturally get this crystal, and once the crystal is ready, you just redeem it for whichever character you want. Okay, now this is going to be the standard pool. There's also this aspect of kind of the new character pool, which is going to be slightly different, but it's kind of the same kind of story. The rate of getting characters is only going to be 0.05% here as well. And whilst you are able to see the pity, you can see the number here, even if you can't read Chinese, you can see the number here is 80. It might be thinking, oh, 80 pity that's actually really, really low. There's problem with all of the new characters in this game is that it's pretty much paid gems only. Okay, so if you have the normal gems that you are able to actually collect over time, you can only buy 10 summons from this. It's basically limited to just to 10 summons, and if you want to basically get that character from the 10 free pools you're able to get, it's only going to be a 0.5% chance. Okay, so basically what I'm trying to say is that if you are actually wanting to play this game, either you have to spend ridiculously amount of money in order to get the character as soon as they're out. Otherwise, what 99% of the player base are just going to do is wait for the character to come out. 1 month later, once they are actually in the standard banner, you will just go up to 200 pity and then just get that character guaranteed. Okay, and as a result, really isn't much of a gambling aspect to this game, and that's kind of what I'd say. It's not really a gacha based game. It's much more focused about your understanding of the game itself, how good you are at actually using your character to win the basketball matches during the match themselves. Okay, so that's kind of the way I will actually define this game. Now that we talk about the gacha system, is this game actually free to play for anyone? Or not? So like I said, if you actually want to get a character out on the day one, you're going to require ridiculous amount of paid currency. So basically here, what you can see is that this blue gem is basically the resource you are able to farm through your deities, etc. And then you see this kind of red voucher thing, etc., which is essentially the equivalent to, let's say, a paid gem. So you will only be able to get this when you actually spend real life money. And the same with this is that a lot of time you are able to convert it or use them just like how diamonds are, but there are also going to be a lot of things in this game which can only be bought with this kind of red paid currency. So as an example, the gacha for the new character, so Tracy McGrady, that I have just showed you guys, as you can see here, this is basically the summoning ticket that you would need to use for that banner. You can only buy 10 times. Okay, there's a limited to just 10 times with the free gems. If you want to buy any more than that, you have to spend the red paid vouchers, and that's kind of what I say. Vast majority of the time, the new characters are pretty much just locked behind pay to win only. But the good news is that they're only going to stay pay to win for about 3 weeks or a month, and then afterwards they will be, like I showed you, they will be added to standard banner, and in which case it's going to be fair games for all of the players out there. You do not need to spend any paid currency afterwards to actually get a character from the standard banner. So from that perspective, I guess you could say pay to win characters have a 1 month privilege where they get to experience new characters if they actually decide to spend the real life money in there. But outside of that 1 month period, it's pretty much fair games for the free to play players out there. And because this game is also very much skill based, it's not just saying whoever has the strongest character will win. You actually have to control the character in game, right? And also you have to know what, for example, during what kind of situation do you actually want to use which move, and also depending on who your teammates and also opponent chose, you may also need to decide which character you would have the biggest advantage over those opponents as well. So as a result, there's actually a lot more strategy and skill based during the match itself, which is going to overshadow any kind of actual advantage a pay to win player is able to get outside of the match. Okay, so for this game, what I would like to say is that it's a free-to-play friendly. Yes and no. Pay-to-win do have a massive advantage where they are actually able to, well, obviously if you actually spend real-life money, you are actually able to play a character 1 month before everyone else. However, that's pretty much the only honeymoon period they will be getting. After that 1 month, it's very much fair games for all of the players out there. And even if you are playing with a bad character, you do not have the character completely leveled up. As long as you have the skills of knowing what to do inside the match, you will be able to beat other players as well. Okay, so it's definitely a lot more skill-based game rather than a pay-to-win or gacha type of games. That's pretty much the core mechanics in this game. There are also obviously a bunch of different events that's always on, which you can use to farm resources. There's also a daily system, which you can use to farm your gems, etc. Also weeklies, which is where you can get those gacha tickets, for example, and also more gems. you can also customize your characters to some extent. For example, you are able to dress them up with different cosmetic skins. You are also able to equip them with something called like potentials, which basically give them additional stats. So you can basically customize them depending on which stats you want to focus on. And also at the same time, you are also able to equip, say, a talent card. I don't actually know what's going to be the official name in the English version, but you are also able to equip those kind of traits or memories where they will have additional benefits in the match itself as well. Okay, so there are definitely a bunch of different things to do in this game. There's also a club system for playing with other friends and unlock missions, unlock resources together, etc. But yeah, so that's kind of the various different contents you are expecting to play. I'm not sure how many of them are going to be out on global straight away. I would think vast majority of them should be, at least of the potential system, club system, they should be there on day one. I'm not too sure about all of those kind of regular weekly events and how many of them will be out straight away. But those are all the things you can also look forward to in the future. Obviously, the core mechanics, I'm not sure whether I mentioned this, well, the core game mode is this rank game. So basically, every single season, you would have basically you just matchmake with other friends or random people, and basically there's different ranking tiers that you want to go up and rank as high as possible. And at the end of the ranking, what's going to happen? There's also a leaderboard if you want to chase for that. But normally, what's going to happen is just based on whichever ranking you are going to be, you'll be getting some rewards at the end of the season based on your ranking. Okay, so that's kind of the main idea. And this is going to be competitive because you will be playing with real life people. Okay, so this game, if you want to say, is like completely PvP. Every single match, well, not every single match. There are some like bot matches, but pretty much like 90% of the game modes or 99% of the game modes in this game are going to be with real people. So that's going to be making it very, very competitive. And this ranking, seasonal ranking games is pretty much where you will be spending vast majority of time, playing alongside with other teammates and also against different opponents and just try to rank high up in the leaderboard. Okay, so that's gonna be a quick breakdown of everything you need to know, or of the mechanics in this game. Let me know whether or not this is something you are interested in and if you're planning to play this game once it's out.